Hello everyone, welcome to the Anxiety Project YouTube channel. Today's project is all about letting go. What is letting go? Why is this necessary for growth, for healing, for releasing past baggage? So today I want to dive into the fundamentals of letting go, because I get clients all the time who come to me and say, Brad, I'm having a hard time, confronting the past. They know they have to. They know they have to go back into the past and confront the real traumatic moments that have led them into the suffering that they are currently experiencing. And so they are resistant. They're very sensitive to it. And I say, well, that's where you need to go. That's where you need to heal. Let's gradually explore those areas of your life that cause you that negative emotion. And they're very, very hesitant, right? Because they are afraid that by confronting that, it will even damage them more. But really, when it comes down to confronting the fears of the dark, your past and the darkness lurking within your psyche, there is this leap that you have to make where it's like, well, I have no other option. If in order for me to get better, I have to burn away so much of my identity, who I think I am, in order to move past this. And with this confrontation, you have to be willing to accept the pain and suffering that you endured. But on the other side of the pain, there is peace, there's freedom. But you can't get to peace without going to war with yourself. That's a great quote from David Goggins. Absolutely true. So yeah, there is this self-awareness that comes about when you go through this psychotherapy, therapeutic process, this self-analyzation towards freedom and peace and health. There is this rough area because it does actually get worse before it gets better. Like, what does that mean? Well, when we look at Moses leading his people from the tyrannical society they once inhabited, they were slaves, and leading them into the desert, looking at this psychologically, it's so brilliant because they were enslaved for 400 years, right? So imagine slavery being the normal. Suffering was the normal. Being oppressed, this was the normal for them. They move from this. They decide to make that leap, right? And I love this story because it's no picnic. When you leave the tyranny, you think, oh, everything is going to be better right away. But that's not what happens, because he ends up leading his people around the desert. They wander around for 40 years, right? What should be like a week's worth of walking ends up to be 40 years. And that's interesting. Dr. Edith Shiro talks about this in her book, The Unexpected Gift of Trauma, which is, she says that it's fascinating that something that should take a week is taking 40 years. And she says that you have to wander around in the unknown and go through the pain of generating new information and building upon this new identity and letting go of this old identity. It doesn't take an overnight to do that. It takes a long while to kill off that past, the dead culture, right? The dead parts of you that are really keeping the suffering alive. You have to wander around in the unknown and go through that pain of the wandering in order for the wisdom and this enlightenment to become incorporated within you. You have to wander around in the unknown. And that's what I did when going through anxiety recovery. I knew that I had to wander around my past and these situations that made me feel anxious, weak, embarrassed. I had to wander around those scenarios and the more I did, the more I released the pain. And that's the thing. When you wander around, you're going to relive those experiences to some degree. If not fully, the emotions will come up. You will cry. You will question whether this process is the right way to self-mastery and healing, right? And you'll go through all of that stumbling. But on the other side of that, you'll notice this weight being lifted from your shoulders. And this is what you must do in order to properly heal. You have to go to your past and you have to confront those emotions voluntarily. And when you do it voluntarily, this activates exploratory circuits rather than activating fear circuits. And because it activates exploratory circuits, you then discover a new side of yourself that you never knew existed. This person that is able to withstand pain and suffering and overcome that. You are able to bring up the pains of your past. No matter how brutal it is, you're able to face that and you are able to survive the strong emotional distress that is associated with them. And then you discover a different side of yourself. So letting go involves you to confront the truth of your current situation. For me, when I bring about this self-awareness, oh my God, things aren't working for me right now. I look up to the sky. This has just been my habit. I look up and I'm like, oh God, things aren't working for me. Oh, what do I need to do right now? And then things will pop up. Things will pop up from my unconscious mind. Yeah, I've been doing that too much. I should stop doing that. And yeah, I haven't been properly eating this way. I should probably, I said that to somebody. I shouldn't have done that. And these things come up when you really ask yourself this question. You come to this self-awareness. And so it's really important to actually let go of what makes you is to really confront and be truthful and honest about your current circumstances. That's no picnic. That's why things get worse before it gets better. You have to wander around and confront the truth of the matter, because in the Cain and Abel story, psychologically, like, the Bible is full of these stories of how to properly be in the world, right? And Cain and Abel is so brilliant because it shows what happens when you do not confront your inadequacies, right? Cain is not making the right sacrifices. Abel is making the right sacrifices. And how do we know? Well, God is favoring Abel. Abel is willing to let go of what he finds most valuable to him, his prized lamb, right? And at the time these stories were written, that was so valuable. Like, imagine now if these stories were written right now, like, what would be valuable to you right now? It could be your car. It could be pornography. It could be alcohol. It could be smoking. It could be some sort of drug. It could be some sort of it could be video games. It could be toxic relationships. It could be whatever it is, right? Like, what's most valuable to you? In the Cain and Abel story, it's like, are you willing to give up pornography in order for things to get any better than they are, right? And so the quality of your life is determined by the quality and how significant your sacrifices each and every day are. And so in Cain and Abel, Cain actually, he shrinks back into this cave of resentment and he broods about it. He looks towards Abel and he's like, well, screw that guy. I don't want to, God's favoring him, to hell with him. And he starts entertaining that rather than looking to Abel and being like, okay, what is he up to? What is he doing that I could take? Like, what information can I gain from Abel's behavior, and maybe I can modify that into my life and actually improve in some manner, right? Maybe I'm not making the big sacrifices I actually need to make, right? And we see this all the time with people, that they're not making big enough sacrifices for things to change. Big enough sacrifices. And that's really, really interesting to think about, especially in regards to you right now. And so we need to look towards our sacrifices, and that actually, and that's part of letting go of much of who we are, because our ego, who we think we are, is made up of our beliefs, and it's made up of our values. And okay, well, how do we determine a belief? Well, we can ask ourselves, I believe what about this situation right now? So I'm stuck in traffic, right? I believe that if I don't get home in time, I won't spend time with my partner or my kids, or I won't be able to, I want to go eat, or, obstacle pops up. And so I believe I am angry. I'm going to upset my family. I'm going to, I'm not going to get the workout I need to get in, or whatever it is, right? So then we have an opportunity to reframe that and be like, okay, well, I'm stuck in traffic. There's not much I can do. Maybe there's something I can benefit from this experience. It's actually a challenge from the universe in order to determine how well I am capable of dealing with this situation. I'm losing the test right now because I'm getting upset. So what can I do to flip the script? Okay, maybe I can listen to something funny. I can listen to a comedy routine while I'm sitting here in traffic. Maybe I can listen to a certain podcast that I can grow from, and then it won't be a total loss that I'm in traffic right now. It's like, what are you willing to let go of? Are you willing to let go of this anger and resentment in order to prevail, in order to be present and like more neutral in the situation? Or are you just going to retreat back into the anger? And then our identity is made up of values. So what we continuously act out on a daily basis determines what we actually value. There's a hierarchy of value. So for me, pornography, weed, negative friends, so forth, sleeping in, certain foods, etc., made up of my values. I valued this freedom that I had in my 20s, right? But when I was in suffering, I had to let that freedom go and incorporate much order and responsibility in order to establish more meaning in my existence. So I had to venture into what I did not understand and explore that until that became my new normal. Because at first, a lot of my identity was like, this is not who you are, Brad. You used to be this guy, and now you're acting like this. Like, there was this cognitive dissonance roller coaster happening. But the more you push down this path, and it's all about perseverance. You stick to it, you will eventually just believe it in the end. Because there is going to be a point where you're not going to believe it. Oh, Brad, you're a meditator now. You're a guru right now. You're a health nut because you're going to the gym. You're going to be fit. It's like, of course, you're not going to believe that right away. But the more you stick to it, the more you actually are going to ingrain this belief within you. Hey, maybe I am a healthy person because look what I've been doing for the past month, 2 months, 3 months, etc. So you have to build on these beliefs, and much of it is from what you decide to do in any given situation throughout the day, and also look towards your sacrifices, because that goes with it, right? To build on different values, you have to sacrifice on what your identity is of right now. And a lot of my identity was dependent habits, reactions, like reassurance seeking from parents, leaning on people like their crutches, leaning on marijuana, leaning on YouTube for reassurance, and all of this. It was like, are you willing to let go of these crutches in order to venture out into the unknown? Like Hercules, right? He goes out with a club and to confront the most evil thing he could even comprehend. And he comes back with the lion skin on his head and the club that has eyes all over the club, representing he's more aware. He is very attentive and he is awake. That's the thing. He's more awake when you confront your fears and your inadequacies. It awakens you, man, and you return back to the village more of a self-actualized individual than the person you were when you left. You are more assertive, you are more neutral in your emotions, you are confident that you can wrestle with the unknown and prevail. That's huge. And so lastly, to conclude this video, I know it's been a lengthy one so far, but it's really important to attach a lot of anxiety to where you are now so that it moves you forward into the unknown. It's like, why give this up? Like, you have to ask yourself this question: why give it up? Have a real reason for that. And how will your future you benefit if you actually give this up? That's huge. So ask yourself, because you need a plan of action. You need a plan of action, and you need your anxiety to push you from behind. You need your fear to move you into the unknown. The fear of, if I'm still stagnant a year from now, oh God, I don't want to be suffering a year from. I don't want to be in the same position a year from now. So that was moving me forward. I do not want to remain here in this same state in a year from now. That's scary, man. And that's where I'm going to leave you in this video. Thank you, everyone, for staying with me, having this, dialogue with me. I know I'm the one speaking, but I can't even express to you guys how I appreciate the comments and the views and how you guys share this with other people who would greatly benefit. And I am so grateful that you are here. You're subscribers to the channel, and you are you just want to be better. That's why you're here. Rise above anxiety. I'll see you next time. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell so that whenever a new video of mine appears, you will be one of the first to know. Namaste.